Hey friends, Sarah Resnick here, sarahresnickyoga.com, and today's video is about two things. One is how to create one little tip about how to create a habit with yoga, and the other is sharing with you some different tools and props that are often used in yoga and meditation practices. Okay, so the habit part. I also teach habit science and help people develop healthy habits in their life. And one of the things in habit science that is talked about and is a tool that you and I can utilize to create the change that we want in our life is what's called the cue. So we're made up of lots of different habits that are going on all the time. We are habitual creatures. So once we start to notice ourselves and our behaviors, we'll realize how much of what we do is habituated. When we want to stop something that's not serving us, a habit, an ingrained routine, or we want to bring in something new, a new behavior, a new routine, and create a habit, it's useful to have an understanding of what's going on, why we do those behaviors, and when we know why we do those behaviors or what sinks that routine into a habit, we can create new ones more easily, and we can also see our blind spots and understand how we can let go of that behavior that's no longer serving us, or actively entrain it out of ourselves is more like it. Eventually we'll let go, but there's some active training that has to happen. Okay, so one of the ways that we've studied with habits is that there's a cue. There's always something that cues us into the habit, or if we want to create a new habit, we need to look at what's our cue. And there are 5 of these cues. And one that we're going to talk about today is location. So a lot of times a location in our home, in our path of our day, is where our habits are centered around. For instance, brushing your teeth is in the bathroom, and our toothbrush and our things that we have our oral hygiene with are all located there in our bathroom in a nice tidy space. And sometimes before we even wake up or really know what's happening, we get pulled into that location to do the routine, right? So there's one example of it. So in yoga, or even fitness, or a stretching routine, or a meditation practice, if we want to make it easier on ourselves to create those home practices, it's very helpful to have a specific location in our home where that action takes place, so that location pulls us into the habit, and we are able to set it right there. So I always encourage people who want to have a yoga home practice to have a location in your home. And I've had several different homes, and my location has worked out in different homes in different spaces. For a long time, my location was in my bedroom. I had a piece of plywood like what I'm sitting on right now in my bedroom because it was carpeted, and I had all my tools around me because that added to the location. You might be fortunate enough to have a little office where you can create a space that is, it's partly your office and it's partly your meditation practice, yoga practice, exercise room. right? Or it could be a little corner in your living room. So lots of different things. Or for me, I've got a summer location that is outside. And so props and tools. So that's the one part, that's the first part of helping you to create a home practice for yourself, is this idea from habit science that there are habit cues. There are 5 of them. One of them is location, and that one way to help your practice become habituated is to create a location where you go again and again and again to do your meditation practice, to do your movement practice. So in your location, you can have the things that help you to practice. And I don't want you to get stuck on like the purchasing of a lot of things. I've had years in this, so I've accumulated a lot of, a friend of mine calls them sacred objects that are in my location. Now, that being said, I think it's a really wise investment, considering that movement and health and wellness routines and yoga and self-reflective meditation routines are something that we can take throughout our whole life. And these things really don't wear out if you so to make the investment, you'll have them for years to come. You don't have to buy them all at once. Okay, so our tools are going to help us with our body, with our mind-body practices, and we can keep them in our location, create a little shelf, some nice baskets, things to make it inviting and cozy, and again, draw you in. And since we're talking about meditation, this is a meditation cushion. Right now I'm sitting on a block. It's nice and sturdy, but when I meditate, I sit on this meditation cushion, and every morning, and it helps me have the upright posture that I want for meditating. There's also meditation stools, and you can make do with a yoga block. It's a little bit harder, or a blanket. So next prop tool that's good for meditation and for some yoga things is a blanket. Now this one is really thick. It's wool, and it folds up into a nice height. I've got like 3 inches of height right there. There are other blankets you could use. You could use a real old school wool blanket, like an army blanket, or a Pendleton or something. Those are really nice. They're more streamlined, but they also are really good for a lot of, sometimes we use the blanket for a yoga prop. Sometimes we just use the blanket for a cozy weighted cover when we're having a shavasana. So nice tool to have. Also for outdoor yoga, sometimes I teach outdoor classes, and if there's grass or weeds or something, you put the blanket down first and then your mat down over top, and it makes it a lot easier to practice outside. So blanket is a great tool. And then yoga mat. Now here is something where all yoga mats are not equal. And you can get a very inexpensive mat at the big box stores, or even on Amazon, like $15. And I know for a lot of people that's what they want, and that's fine. What I will say, those yoga mats do wear out. And without much time, they wear out. Now, this mat that I'm holding, this is, and I'm just going to give them a plug. They don't sponsor me or anything, but I recommend this mat all the time. It's Manduka, Manduka is the brand. And this is about a 1/4 inch of thickness, But what I think is more important than the thickness here is the density. Like when I press this, my fingers don't press together. On some of the less expensive mats, they might be a 1/4 inch thick, but when I press them, my fingers go right together. So it's just not very dense. This mat runs about $100, but it will last a lifetime. It even has a lifetime guarantee, and they have a nice, if it does wear out, they have a recycle program, right? So that's the other thing with these less expensive mats, that if you use it a lot, you're going to have to replace it. We're tossing the old ones, and also, a nicer mat, your hands slip less, your bones get more padding. They're heavier. Some people don't like carrying a heavy mat around. For me, it's just not an issue. I just prefer the heavier, denser mat. Okay, so yoga mat. Another prop is the yoga block, and I'm sitting on the other one that's just like this. These are made of cork, and it's about, I would say, 4 inches thick, and then it has a tall height, a short height, a medium height. Most blocks come in about the same dimension, though sometimes there's 2-inch blocks instead of 4-inch blocks. So I love the cork. They're a nice combination of soft while also very firm and stable. There are also foam blocks. Again, we get into like the plastic versus a natural renewable resource. There's that. If you do go with the foam, sometimes they could be really nice. The 2-inch foam is only good. The 2-inch block is only good for very specific things. For most general practices, get the 4-inch. It's more stable. Try and get a denser foam. All right, and get 2 of them. There's also wooden blocks. I've had wooden blocks. I like them. I had a friend make me some beautiful wooden blocks, and I probably won't ever get rid of them. They're cedar. They smell good, but they also they're really hard. Like, these are more friendly if we're doing things where we're sitting on them or resting them under the base of our spine. They're not as hard as the wood blocks, and sometimes wood blocks will slide on a wooden floor. So all these details are really nuanced and small. I share them with you just to say that my favorite is the cork block. Okay, after that we have a yoga strap. Now the yoga strap, it could be substituted with a long belt or a scarf. There's so many yoga poses and different things that we can do with these straps. They're very handy, but I would say one of the most common ones is to bring them behind your back and help you do a chest opening type stretch, or if you wanted to stretch your spine and the back of your leg, you can put the strap around the leg and help yourself stay tall while also pulling yourself forward. So there's just good, they assist us in our poses. So that is about it with the yoga props. Of course, there's more. It could go on and on, but those are the basic yoga props that are really nice to have in your location. Other props that are lovely for restorative type practices, there's bolsters and sandbags. I'll probably do another video about additional props that we can have, but basic yoga props, setting your location in your home to build a yoga home practice, that about covers it. And in addition to that, if you want to check out I have a yoga membership program that you can find on my website, sarahrustickyoga.com. There are recorded classes that you can take part of, and there's also live classes each week. Also, I'm super friendly. Reach out to me if you have any questions. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Happy yoga-ing. I hope you found this useful, and I hope that you have fun developing your yoga home practice.